Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Yevamot page 120, which discusses the law. In order for a woman to be able to get married and her husband went across the seas, and there's testimony saying your husband died, or she says my husband died, it's necessary that there is absolute positive identification on the remains of that individual. If there's any speculation and possibility that this is not the husband, then she's not allowed to get remarried. And therefore, because of this, the Talmud says that you actually need to have been able to see the person's face. Interestingly enough, ima chotem, even with the nose. In other words, you need to be able to have seen the entirety of the person's face. Also, you need to be able to testify within 3 days from the time that that person died. Because of the possibility, if let's say you saw the remains 2 weeks after that person had died, it's very possible that that decomposing of the body took place, and therefore the face is not as recognizable, and therefore such testimony may not necessarily be valid, and you may not necessarily know what you're talking about. Now, there is an exception the Talmud discusses, that if the body was in water for more than 3 days, water actually has the ability to be able to preserve the remains even beyond that point of time, and therefore you could still testify. However, we also are discussing regarding the remains of this individual that it has to be that you see the person's face. You cannot say, "Oh, I noticed the person had this special ring, a Super Bowl ring." Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was this man. It's possible that he lent it out to someone, and the person that you found is not him. It's just the person that he lent this ring to, for example. Also, when it comes to clothing, if you say, "Oh yeah, I noticed that he was wearing a red shirt or a particular garment," that in itself is not proof. It has to be something which is much more conclusive that this, in fact, is him. And which teaches us an interesting point. What really identifies a person is not the clothes that they wear, not the rings or the jewelry that they wear. And perhaps on a different level, we could understand that when we get dressed, and of course, it's important to look in a particular way and to be able to be dignified, but that is not really what's most important. And what identifies you as a person is not the clothes that you wear, it's not the jewelry that you wear. And so too, when it comes to after a person has died, when it comes to testifying, we have to first look at the physical features of a person and not the garments that a person wears.